blocking a public street with your SUV in protest, and then attempting to run over a law enforcement officer with the same vehicle. Peaceful protest or domestic terrorist? It will likely be determined by a jury. Nowhere is this rupture more raw and devastating than in the politicization of our immigration policy, where human loss is stripped of its nuance and weaponized into competing narratives of blame and ideology. A brief word on today's support. This episode is brought to you by Timothy Renier Insurance. As an independent agent now offering auto insurance in Arizona, Timothy leverages his expertise to secure tailored coverage that fits your life and budget. For a quote that saves you both money and time, call 602-341-5290. License number 6734192. Consider the stark, heartbreaking case of Renee Good. On January 7th, the mother from Middle America was identified as the driver killed during a confrontation with an ICE agent in Minneapolis. The immediate human response to such news is one of visceral horror and profound sorrow. But this is only one side of the political forge. How could it be that some mom from Middle America with a couple of kids is using her vehicle to ram an ICE agent, the same way that you would see ISIS, an ISIS radical, running over people at a Christmas market in Germany? Her friend Winslow articulated this gut-wrenching reality. "I know that this is not the type of person. She didn't deserve to die for nothing. I had to watch the video maybe 10, 15 more times because I couldn't believe it." Here lies the raw material of tragedy. A life, a person known and loved, abruptly and violently erased. Yet in our current climate, that human moment is granted no sanctuary. It is instantly vacuumed into the machinery of political narrative, where it is dismantled and reassembled as ammunition. The legalistic mind, focused solely on the framework of culpability, immediately seizes upon the facts to build a case. The felony murder rule is a legal doctrine that holds all participants in a dangerous felony criminally responsible for any death that occurs during its commission. This is true even if the death was accidental, unintended, or directly caused by a co-conspirator or law enforcement. Dissecting the event, focusing not to the deceased, but to her wife. "Think about these two women who showed up yesterday," he said. "One is dead. Her surviving spouse, by the way, one could argue, may be complicit in the killing. Blocking the road for almost 5 minutes, and then attempting to run over a law enforcement officer was a planned operation as contemplated under the felony murder rule. Her surviving spouse could be liable for her wife's death. She could be brought up on charges of felony murder. In this narrative, Rebecca is no longer a grieving widow but a complicit actor. Renee's death is not a shattering loss but a liable outcome. The humanity is drained away, leaving only the legal argument. Critics argue felony murder is a harsh, often unjust form of collective punishment that can impose life sentences for unintended consequences, disproportionately impacting individuals with minor roles. Proponents contend it serves as a critical deterrent, appropriately assigning grave responsibility to those who initiate inherently violent and unpredictable criminal enterprises. Here, the mom from Middle America, the very figure meant to evoke normality and innocence, is rhetorically fused with the image of an ISIS terrorist. The action, regardless of its specific, contested context, is stripped of its particulars and elevated to a symbol of domestic extremism. The legal argument, liable for that death, seamlessly merges with the ideological argument, radicalized massive swaths. The goal is no longer merely to assign blame for a single act, but to paint a movement, and by extension, anyone who shares its broad concerns, as an existential, terrorist-like threat. The tragedy is no longer about Renee Good, it is about what they have done to America. This is the ultimate, poisonous fruit of our fracture. We are losing the capacity to hold two truths at once. It can be true that an action was legally perilous, and that its fatal result is a profound human tragedy. It can be true that an individual may bear responsibility for a dangerous situation, and that their death is not a cause for political victory, but for human grief. It can be true that ideologies can motivate reckless acts, and that comparing a distressed mom from Middle America to a jihadist is a destructive act of rhetorical violence that further radicalizes the very swaths it claims to diagnose. In the case of Renee Good, she was a complex person who died a violent death. That is the unbearable human truth. The legal truth seeks to assign blame. The political truth seeks to weaponize the blame. And in the crossfire of these competing cold certainties, our shared humanity, the part that simply says, a person died and it is a terrible thing, another casualty in a war of narratives that has forgotten how to mourn. And if this article resonates within you, then let that recognition be recorded by hitting the like button. Furthermore, if you deem this podcast's arguments amplified for the common good, then you are requested to subscribe.